not used to having so many cameras. You all right, Joey? Good lad. Easy boy. Good boy, Joey. Hey, come on, Joey. Easy boy. Good lad. Whoa! Easy. Good. Good boy. Whoa. Whoa. Good. Hey, good lad. Oh, easy going. Good lad. He's quite frisky. We give him a sugar cube. There you go, Joe. Ouch, Joe. So I'm going to take you can see the design has moved on a little bit. I'm going to take you on a little guided tour of the puppet. So if we start, we have 3 puppeteers operating him. We have what we call the head, the heart, and the hind. So the head puppeteer, the head you can see there is made of cane, again, bent and lashed together. The eyes are interesting. They're the only shiny part on the horse. They're made of resin, and that sort of shine makes them look a bit liquid, and it allows you to believe in the audience that he's looking in different directions. The head's quite lightweight, but it's as light as we can make it, but it's still quite a lot for that head puppeteer to lift. And the neck is a series of jointed spines, a little bit reminiscent of the hyena. You can see the sections there behind the mane. And then the puppeteer, yeah, good boy. The puppeteer's got a couple of jobs. Technically, he's got to maintain the eye line. We as human beings are incredibly sensitive to eye line. We know exactly where someone's looking if they're talking to you. We know if they're looking you in the eye, if they're glancing at something else, if they're looking at some part of your body. And so we do the same thing with animals. And what we sense the animal looking at starts to tell us about where his attention is, what he's thinking about. And we were lucky enough to work with Monty Roberts on the show, he deals with horse behaviour and psychology and physicality. And one of the things that we learned very early from Monty is that horses don't enjoy being looked at straight on. Because we have eyes facing forward in our heads, like predatory animals. So if I start to look at him front on like this, start to make him uncomfortable. But if I turn away, then he starts to feel much more comfortable with my presence. So all of that stuff's really important. And then the emotional indicator that the head puppeteer has, and each of these 3 puppeteers has an emotional indicator, is the ears. The ears are really telling us about his sensitivity. And again, they're even more important than their eyes. Their ears are sort of like radars. They're showing us where his attention is. So if I do this, you can see that his attention is with me. So if we then move on to the heart puppeteer, and again, the construction of those front legs, you may find familiar. When he activates that trigger, that curl, what that does is that bends the leg and bends the knee, but it also engages the ankle. And you might recognize that from the hyena mechanism. The front legs has a technical task, the puppeteer has a technical task. He's got to show his weight. He's not bearing any weight on those front legs at all. It's all going through him. So every time he puts a hoof on the floor, he's got to show us that the weight is going through that leg into the body. And then his emotional indicator is probably one of the smallest mechanisms on the horse, but probably the most important. He's showing us the breath of the horse. We are seeing that the horse is alive, and that's telling us about the physical state of the horse, whether he is a bit tense and anxious, so the breath is light and fast, whether he's exhausted and it's low and raggedy, or whether he's angry and it might be snorting. So he's really, but apart from just showing us that, breath is really at the heart of Handspring's philosophy about puppetry. Basil is fond of reminding me, what's the difference between an actor and a puppet on stage? An actor, he would suggest, walks on stage and their first port of business is to tell us about the character and start to tell us about the story. A puppet walks on stage and the puppet's first point of business is to be alive. Because it has the possibility not to be alive. And the breath shows us that he's alive. If the guys jump out, if our puppeteers jump out of the horse right now, it will collapse and die. So it's constantly the puppet struggling to exist, to be alive on stage. And I believe that it's that fragility, that potential, the potential for life all the time, that makes us engage so strongly with the puppet. People often ask me, why do you think people respond so emotionally to what they're seeing in War Horse? And I think it's that when you put a puppet on stage, there's a sort of subliminal, unconscious pact that we're making with you, the audience. We're saying, do you want to play? Do you remember when you were young and we used to play with things together and we would agree that they were alive? And so whether you're conscious of it or not, we're inviting the audience to go to a place where they're much more emotionally available and that in their imaginations anything is possible. That's my idea. So we come to the hind. So we come to the hind, and the hind has control of this fantastic tail. Yeah. And the tail's made up of this wonderful substance called Tyvek. And we looked for the mane as well. It moves really nicely through the air. Originally we were using this foam substance which had the same effect. It moved gorgeously when you flicked it, but it was highly flammable. So we tried to move on from that. The exciting job also that the hind's got is he gets to show us that he's got the weight and the power, all that power on those back legs. So when the horse is about to run, he dips in and we see that muscle engage. But he also gets to be in control of the gait of the horse. Because the puppeteer in the front legs, he can't look back, he's strapped in. So he can't see what's happening. That means he has to decide which direction they're going in, but they have to make it look like the decision was coming from the hind. And it also means when he goes into a walk, Joey, if he walks, he's walking in a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. And then if he shifts up into a trot, it's only the hind that knows that coming, and that's a 2 count. 1, 2, 1, 2, and the hind has to be in control of that. And again, if he shifts up into a gallop, then we're back into a faster 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. With me now because I'm making him go through his paces. He's a little bit tetchy, so I think we'll send him back to the stables. Thank you, Joey. Yeah!